I will briefly introduce Manjaro 0810 installed with the Cinnamon desktop. I already made a presentation of Manjaro with KDE and XFCE desktops. I will try to highlight the differences in the Cinnamon desktop. I already wrote 2 tutorials for installing the XFCE version Manjaro in English. I followed the same procedure to install Cinnamon Manjaro. I used VirtualBox for this installation. You will find these tutorials on article section of Software website. You will also find a tutorial directory with a section dedicated to the operating system. There are categories for most of Linux distributions, Unix flavors, Mac OS X. Moreover, Software website features a software directory and a hosting directory. This test is not intended to be exhaustive, but I hope it will be a starting point before downloading the appropriate ISO. The Cinnamon Office installed on Manjaro is part of the Community Edition. Let's talk about the Start menu. This is the first difference that I noticed in comparison with the other desktops. It is divided into 3 parts. The right part shows the submenus that correspond to each of the menu items of the central part. On the left, links to the most used applications, favorites. Right-click on one of the programs of this menu gives you access to a submenu. You can then send the program to the desktop, put it in your favorite. Let's talk about folders, desktop and Windows management. The file manager is called Nemo. This manager has some interesting features. With the menu obtained by a right-click on a folder or a file, you can open it as root, compress or encrypt it. It is also possible to move a file or a directory to another destination. Then, it's a start menu, very convenient. You will also note the presence of desklets, which are like plasmoids on KDE or widgets on Android. These are tools that you can add to your desktop. You can access the configuration of desklets thanks to the Startup menu, Preferences menu, Desklet item. By default, you have a clock, an image slider. It is easy with a right-click to add them to your desktop, but also to customize the desklet. The Get More Online tab will give you access to a collection of desklets. For example, I installed the date and time desklets and the drives desklets. Now let's have a look on the software. First, Internet. We find Firefox with a Flash plugin installed. Email client software is Jerry. I struggled to configure my Gmail account on Jerry. I prefer Thunderbird or Evolution. These 2 softwares are not installed by default. Second, Multimedia. We find VLC as music player and video. Brasero for burning CD and DVD. But I didn't find installed by default. The classics are Amarok, Dragon Player, Audacity. Third, graphics. No graphical utilities such as GIMP. The offer is very poor. 4. Accessories and various software. We find 7-zip archiving software. We also find gparted for resizing and creating partitions. Finally, the package manager by default is Paymac. In conclusion now, undoubtedly, the Cinnamon desktop is aesthetically more pleasant than XFCE or KDE. I also find the Startup menu and the File Manager very convenient. However, I am really disappointed by the applications installed by default. Of course, it is very easy to install the required software by paymac. In fact, it means that this may not be the best Manjaro desktop for a complete newbie to Linux. This desktop is more suited for people who already use Linux.